What's up, everybody, and welcome back to Sensibly Loud Radio, the Takeover Edition. J-Mac and Kyle Beats have taken over the show. We are taking the reins from MtnKarl and Brandon. Kyle, what's up, man?
What up, man? Glad to be back again. Another live episode, man. I'm really excited to be here in person and talking a topic that's outside of sports, maybe my favorite form of entertainment, which is music.
Strong agree. Yeah, podcasting's up there, or like listening to podcasts is definitely up there for me.
That's consumed a lot more of my time in 2019 than it did
in
a year before.
100%. Yes,
I would actually say I'm pretty 50-50 at this point.
Honestly, yeah. I'm really surprised at how difficult it was. So today we're going to talk about top albums of 2019 for us.
Right.
And I was really surprised at how difficult it was to really think back on the albums that really stuck out to me. And I had to look it up a little bit and look back at some of the stuff I listened to over the year to, make sure that I remembered certain things. Because, albums come and go. Like,
yes.
I think there are certain albums that are always going to be mainstays. But, like, as a general rule, like, a lot of rap music sounds the same, and a lot of music in general sounds the same. So it can come and go. So it's got to make a pretty large imprint to like stick in your brain for so long.
More so than it used to. And
Definitely.
I'll tell you why. It's just because we have so much more music now. We have
Absolutely.
so much more music to digest. Especially us millennials, we are so spoiled and have so much at our fingertips that we don't really appreciate things. Like, I get guilty of this, but I've been a lot better about it this year. I'll listen to something once or twice and be done with it.
Same.
I've been listening to things because it's just like, a great movie where you can go back and find things that you didn't hear or catch the first time, double meaning type stuff. And I've been doing that a little bit more often this year. I do think, obviously a lot of music does sound the same, hip hop especially.
Mm-hmm.
But we're at a point now where you look at other genres like rock music, like it's kind of all been done. Like it's really hard to be original, right? And that's
Correct.
why you see, country having the success it does, because rock
hasn't.
It's just kind of been done already, right? Like 50 years of sample size, and it's like I don't know what to do that's original. And I do think a lot of hip hop sounds the same, but I think there's a lot of good young artists, which we'll get to, later here. I think there's a lot of guys that are like 25 and under. So if you're looking at as like an athlete, like a lot of guys that haven't hit their prime yet, that I think they can. Mm-hmm. This was not as strong of a year for hip hop as 2018.
God, no, but 2018. But looking back on like comparing 2018 to 2019,
tough competition.
Tough competition. So many albums dropped, and I was looking the other day at artists that are dropping albums in 2020. It's a fat list too.
2020 might be a good year.
Yeah, so 2020 is going to be one of those. It's going to be an every other year type of thing. There was some really good stuff that came out in 2019 for sure. And not even just on the hip-hop genre. I've got a few I think that'll probably surprise you a little bit as far as just ones that I really, really enjoyed throughout the year.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear.
Yeah, just maybe some obscure things. But, I mean, overall, like, I think it's – you were kind of talking about the rock thing real quick. I think where rock really struggles right now is that it's just harder to assemble than – me putting together beats in my garage by myself, or in my my computer by myself, right? And like I look at people like Lil Uzi Vert, for example, who's just like would not have been existent 20 years ago.
Certainly
like
not.
Definitely not. And like, but it's we've come a different way where it's easier to be on your own than it is to assemble five guys that can coordinate schedules
correct
that have lived enough hard life, like to be like as hard as Keith Richards or whatever, or
right.
like some measure in between.
Bring that authenticity to the stage.
And
that's a good point.
It's hard to like. It's just harder to do, and it's harder to do well because, like you said, a lot of it's been oversaturated. And
I haven't thought about it like that. That's really good. In this world where we live in, that is social media dominated, where you're trying to be the CEO of yourself, you're trying to be your own brand. It's easier to be a solo artist now than in a band, right? And
right.
That was not the case in the 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s.
Exactly. Like, we wouldn't be sitting here right now having this conversation if it weren't for that. I mean, like, really and truly.
Yeah.
It's the same kind of thing. It's easier to get into. The barriers of entries are low. And, I mean, anybody can put a sample out on SoundCloud. And, like, that's the crappy...
ball.
Yeah, exactly. It's exactly, though, like, I think that's kind of the point, though. And, like, it sucks because... there are a lot of rappers that are really, really good that don't end up making it because they get crushed between that spot where you have to pay for your samples, but you're not making enough money to pay for the samples to be able to justify going forward with it. So it's like you're caught in this place where it's like you can't really be successful. You can't sell the records because you don't own the samples. You can't buy the samples because you can't sell the records. It's a real rock and a hard place situation. And like a lot of rappers fall victim to that are really, really good, which is disappointing in a lot of ways.
You're going to get less like normal guys that are really from a neighborhood rapping. You're going to get more guys that are, musicians, kids, or are have the capital up front to be able to do that, right?
Right.
So it's going to be a little bit different of storytelling in that aspect. And I think you're seeing that with, this I would look at, this decade of hip hop, and you see it a lot, especially in the 2019 albums we're going to get to, that's very, like drug use influenced, and there's less social commentary, I think. And I feel like we're just progressing more and more in that direction. Little bit of a bounce back right now. I mean, we went through a little lull like this in like 06, 07, 08, where like, God forbid, Young Jock was like the #1 record. It's like, that's a dark time.
That was a weird time for hip hop, man.
That's not good, right? There was somewhere between like jerseys and shoulder lean and then getting to like Kanye pink polos. We were somewhere in between there, right?
So I thank God that I had somewhat of a dark period in rap music from like the late 90s. And it's not exclusive, but they're, as a general rule, I kind of went dark from like the late 90s to like late 2000s.
Yeah.
On hip
When I
hop.
did my top 10 2000s
hip
hop albums, you were like, that's not, my area of expertise.
No. And like, I don't know anything about like
you like 90s rap, and then you've gotten back
and then
into
it jumped back into, current day rap. And like, it's there's just a block of time, which is fine. But like Lil Wayne brought me back.
Oh, wow.
Really and truly. Like, the Carter 3, dude, was an album.
People always say Lil Wayne is like, if you like him, he's like such this like commercial, like glamorized rapper that people don't appreciate. Dude, Lil Wayne's top 10 for me.
He was incredible, dude.
Like, if you just look at if you just read his raps, right? Like, you cannot
It's
even
genius.
be a rap fan. I could give this to my dad, and you just read it. It's like there is like poetic nature to that, and a lot of really smart similes, metaphors, and double meaning stuff.
Exactly, and a lot of wordplay, a lot of like telling things
sports
for the time,
references, which is a big thing I like about Wayne too. He's a big sports fan.
That dude, he's the most bandwagon fan that exists. But he owns that.
Yeah, he does.
He definitely owns that. But it is always been somewhat annoying to me because I'm pretty sure he's a Red Sox fan.
That wouldn't surprise
It's
me.
upsetting.
I know he's a Saints fan. Yeah, I mean he's all over.
No, he's a Green Bay fan, right?
Oh
Well, black. It wasn't green and yellow. Wasn't there like a remix that he did of?
Oh yeah.
Or was that? I don't really remember.
No, he did black and gold. Black and gold.
Black and gold. There you go. That's what I was thinking. Not black and yellow.
Let me throw this at you real fast. I want it because we need to talk about the 2019 albums, which, like I said, I have primarily hip hop. I'm excited for your surprises for me. 2018 though, very challenging to follow this up. You had Astro World by Travis Scott.
Yep.
Fantastic. Daytona Pusha T. I know it was 7 tracks, but that was a banger,
dude. That whole series of Kanye albums were a banger.
Not my necessarily cup of tea, but Cardi B's album sold, man.
Yeah, it's not my thing either.
It's not my thing, but that I mean, just from a strictly
numbers standpoint.
J. Cole put out an album, KOD, which I didn't think was his strongest project, but it sold, and it's still J. Cole releasing an album.
Same with Drake and Scorpion.
That was my next point. And then you had Migos also did Culture 2, which sold really well. And I like Migos more than most people. Is it fair to say, and there's another artist we're going to talk about that released an album this year that I think is noteworthy, that I don't think Migos is necessarily, I don't think they're the most talented guys in the world, but I like them a lot. Like, does that make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Like, it's okay to not think somebody's great. Like, there's football players you don't think are great, but you like the guy, right? Like, I don't think these guys are the greatest rappers ever, but they get fire beats, and I think they're funny, and I just like them.
Yeah, I think you have a lot less of guys like the game out there these days.
Right.
And like that's kind of the difference. And like you don't. So I'm with you. Like I didn't love Culture 2.
Inconsistent, because there's some good tracks on there, but it's inconsistent.
And I'll tell you, man, like the thing that gets me every time, and this is the most millennial thing in the world. I realize that, but like I cannot stop thinking this way. Is that it was just so much.
Okay.
That was like 3 albums worth of music in one.
Yeah.
And it was only like 25 songs or something like that.
Or
like,
Scorpion was freaking.
dude, even more
Was that 25 songs as well, right?
I listened to that album exactly one time. Like it's too much. And
That
like,
embodies the oversaturation. That because Drake's just like, oh, I can write all these raps, but it's like, yeah, but you just give me 2 quality songs versus 8 mediocre songs.
Right, exactly.
I hate that shit.
Exactly. It's like, don't do it to sell an album. Like
Daytona had 7 tracks, all bangers.
That Kanye album did the same thing. Like that whole series that Kanye did that he produced all those had 7 tracks. It was
Perfect. Like you could go back and listen to like the Kid Cudi thing, and like even the Kid Cudi album, you could go back and listen to that and go through it twice and get a good feel for what you were looking for.
Yeah, that man. I'll tell you what, was Damn by Kendrick Lamar, was that
17, I
that
think.
17? Okay.
Yeah, that was 17.
I think that is 17.
That's a good album though.
Yeah, it was. I would say that's probably the best album of the last 3 years, but I would put Daytona right up there. Like I'm a big Pusha guy.
Yeah, I've never been as much, but man, like the fact, like we'll get into our 2019 albums after this.
Me and you, like historically, we like hip hop, but for all of our listeners, I mean, you are more of a West Coast. I like beats, more focused on that. You like that type of
big
hip-hop
beats
more, where I'm more of, I like historically a lot of New York or East Coast guys where it's more lyrical.
Biggie.
Although I will say now, as I've gotten older, which is usually the inverse, as I've gotten older, I'm less worried about the lyrics.
Yeah.
Like to a degree, I still am, but
the lyrics have been done. So
right. So it's like it's more about presentation, delivery, beats now.
Yeah. So I'm with you, but like albums like Travis Scott's album didn't stick with me as much as most. Okay. Because it's a little bit too obscure for me.
See, I
get it.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's cool to hear that perspective, because I think it's really like artistic. So was the Cudi and Kanye too obscure for you?
A little bit,
pretty obscure.
Yeah, pretty obscure, but I appreciate it for what it is because I know how creative it's supposed to be, and the fact that it's almost like it's wasted on a simpleton like me. If you want to look at it that way, right? Right. And so I try to just I liked it. I didn't think it was great, but I liked it. So like, it's one of those things that coming from like the West Coast kind of styling of, as far as rap goes, like I love those beats that kind of don't like change course all of a sudden at one time. It's a little more consistent throughout. And so like, I think about the Travis Scott song that had Drake on it. That was an absolute banger. It was one of the main hits.
Yeah.
I can't think of what it's called off the top of my head. I'll think of it in a second. But it like starts off one way and then completely turns over and changes to go a different direction.
Yeah.
Both great.
Right.
But I kind of wanted to see where the first one was going.
Much, right.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, why are we stopping this? I like where the beat's at.
Right. Yeah. And not to say they ruined it, but it just sometimes it just changes my groove on it a little bit, right? And that's where it comes
and
to.
He did
me.
it at the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a great performance because that's a very hard thing to reenact.
It is. It's very hard to reenact for sure.
So jumping into 2019.
Okay.
A lot of good albums this year. I'm going to tell you, we talked about, movies earlier today. I'm going to tell you who I think won 2019 as far as hip hop goes.
Okay.
And it's a guy you put me onto that I wasn't big on.
Okay.
And DaBaby.
DaBaby, dude. The Kirk was a great album.
The Kirk was a great album. And I thought Baby on Baby was a pretty good album.
Baby on Baby was a good album too.
I think that I had the Kirk ranked higher. We're kind of just doing our favorite albums at this point. Initially, I had tried
ranked
to order them because I'm just obsessive like that. That's why I did the top 10 things. It's like a real issue. I had the Kirk higher though.
Okay.
I thought it was a little more raw, where like Baby on Baby was, because I think that was came out after. So Baby starting to blow up, right? He had Suge on that, and he had some of the more radio songs, but his radio raps, like the one he has with Lil Baby and like Suge, like they're still like pretty street raps though.
Yeah,
like, they're
for
not
sure.
very like sensitized or commercialized, which I love. Is he's an Atlanta guy?
Yeah. I think so.
I mean, I'll pull it up. I mean, I just feel like Atlanta has so much coming out, and I was saying that 10, 12 years ago, and I was like, oh, it's not always going to be like that. Is Atlanta is that the hip hop?
The new Mecca, dude. It's funny because when I think
always
about
LA or New York before, right?
For sure, and we were talking about this a little bit ago, like just a second ago, like. The interesting thing is that you and I, where we both land in the same campus with Atlanta rap.
Yes.
Which is cool. Like I think that's a really big thing for the ATL. And like, I think the rap that, I mean, guys like Future that have kind of mixed they've come up with their own style, but they've mixed what West Coast things work and what East Coast type rap things work and made something completely different.
Right.
And we both dig it because it's the elements of what we love the most. And like that, like I thought The Wizard was a really good album, which we can get to in a minute.
On the
It
list.
was a great album, dude. But like, I it just made him a huge hitter.
Yeah.
You know, and like Atlanta's really blown up in that sense.
So I pulled this up. He's actually from Charlotte, North Carolina.
Okay,
so he's
yeah.
a North Carolina guy, which now that I think about it,
Makes
there
sense.
are a lot of references there. But Cole's a North Carolina guy, so they got North Carolina got two pretty strong artists going right now. He's born in Cleveland. He's by way of Charlotte, but he produces all of his albums in Atlanta.
Okay,
Right?
got it.
Like
With that influence, then.
Right, exactly. And it's
Okay.
Those towns are probably 6 to 8 hours apart. So,
Right. Okay.
I do.
That song with him and Nicki Minaj is wild.
Dude.
iPhone is fire.
I've always thought Nicki is really good.
Dude,
man.
me too.
Like,
Me too. See, I'm a big Nicki guy. I'm not a big Cardi B person.
agree with that 100%. I'm not a big female rapper guy. And
Same,
it's not a sexist thing. I
No.
love female artists of all genres. It's just harder for me to relate to, obviously.
Sure.
But I think Nicki is just, if you look at that catalog, whether she's writing those verses or not, because there's definitely times where it's like, this sounds like Wayne in a female body here.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
She's got some flows, man. She's got a lot of hits.
Dude, and like I think back to the what was her first big album? It was the Pink it was
Pink Print.
yeah, no, the one before that. It was it had like her it had like super bass and stuff like that on it.
Right. It was like there was like some poppy songs on there. Like
Yeah,
Super
exactly.
Bass was
But
pretty
Wayne and Birdman produced that whole thing, and it was fire.
Yep. And she never saw a check from Birdman.
Never,
apparently.
unbelievable. So like I've always kind of been in that camp as well, where I like her
So
a lot more.
If I tell you the Baby won 2019 for hip hop, do you hate that take?
No, I'm surprised by that take. Not that you have it,
I'm
but
with-
that it happened at all.
And I'll admit, I had never heard a DaBaby song. I'd only seen the name in 2018. I'd never heard a song until you put me on.
It was his first album, right?
Put me on
Yeah,
him and Youngboy NBA, which I'm proud of. That was my or I'm thankful for. That was my number one played artist on Spotify and
was
Pandora was Youngboy NBA.
really wow.
That's
So I've been
wild,
on to
right?
him for a while. Pink Friday, by the way, is the album
Pink
that was
Friday, yeah.
But yeah, no, I've been on to Young NBA for a little while, so yeah, we can get into that here in a minute too, if you want to.
For sure.
What were some that was so? Were there any that like Future came out with The Wizard, absolute fire.
So when I referenced earlier that I love Migos, even though I don't think they're that talented, I think Future's more talented than Migos.
For sure.
Future is not the intellectual or the songwriter that Kendrick Lamar or J. Cole is
No,
by any stretch of the
no,
imagination.
doesn't try to be.
But I fucking love Future.
I know, me too.
I remember reading a Rolling Stone article my pops put me on too, where it was like he goes in the booth and he records in the pitch black.
Yeah, I
And
believe
like,
that.
You almost get that feel when you're listening to his music. And like, there's a few out. So I said earlier that I'm not a fan of movies that have single characters. Then I listed like 10 movies that I love with like very few amounts
naturally.
of characters. I'm not a huge fan of the drug rap where it's like these guys are like really on drugs and they have that like really just like groggy, muffled sound.
Yeah,
But then I look at it, I'm like, I have like 4 or 5 albums like that. Future does that really delicately and really well.
yeah. The mumble rap thing is a talent.
Yes. And
For sure.
He does it a lot better than most guys. And even though I don't think of Future as an intellectual, especially in this album, he does it, but he always does it. He has some really good metaphor. He's some one-liners where you're like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
I gotta think about that. That's
Dude,
pretty cool.
dating back to all of his like all the way through his albums, like
Yeah, I mean,
Magic
to, like,
and all that is like
freaking Tony Montana, you remember?
yeah, dude, that stuff's crazy. Like he's a brilliant individual and just took some time to find his groove.
Yep.
Because I didn't exactly always love him until I don't know. I don't really remember what album changed that for me.
Yeah, 'cause,
Maybe
like,
What a Time to Be Alive
When,
really
like,
changed that for me.
Turn on the Lights came on, I was like, Tony Montana came out, and I was like, yeah, this guy's
All
a
right.
one-hit wonder. Turn on the Lights came out, I'm like, no, this guy's going to be popular, but that's not like my style necessarily. Trying to think when it would have been. It was, maybe like Same Damn Time. I was like, okay, he's starting to like, because that was more of a hip hop album, and then he went into like the Purple Rain era, like 2013, 2014. I think that's when
Yeah.
I was really on Fuge, somewhere in college.
So then Pluto came after that, right?
No, Pluto was a little before that.
Okay.
Pluto, I was like, okay.
Yeah.
And then it was Purple Rain was after that. I was like,
Okay, that's right.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm here.
Yeah, definitely. And then since then, he hasn't had an album that's really missed.
If I was gonna say the Baby didn't win 2019, J Mac, who would you say did? I mean, Future, The Wizard was a good album, and he always just crushes it on features, and like he had some really good features.
He did. I would say.
Because I mean, I really think.
Are we staying in hip hop specifically?
No.
Honestly,
Billie Eilish,
dude.
I mean,
Ed Sheeran had a hell of a year.
factual.
Dude, that number 6 collabs album that he has might be one of my favorite albums this year.
And for our listeners, I haven't listened to that
Really,
and
at all.
I really need to expand my horizons more, and maybe doing this will, get me to a point where I do expand my horizons, because I haven't listened to that one bit.
Dude, but he has. I mean, there's a song with Eminem on it.
Okay.
There's a song with Young Thug on it.
Okay.
Like,
I'm a Young Thug guy, not
Dude.
a big Eminem guy, surprisingly.
yeah, I'm mixed on him.
But I mean, I'm sure like that would help transition me to getting into the mood for that album a little bit better.
Absolutely, because it's got a lot of hip hop influence, but it's just got a lot of everything, man. There's some good ballads on there that are like almost like hip hop ballads in a way, kind of thing. Like
Right.
there's some groovy stuff. There's some like Spanish influence on it a little bit. There's a lot on it. It's that might be my favorite album of the year, honestly.
And he's the kind of guy that, whether you like that music or not, it's just like, it's like a Chris Brown. It's like that guy's just talented, right? Whether
Right.
you like that or not, it's
He's talented.
Justin Timberlake. That dude is talented at
Right.
what he does. So I'll need to get on that.
You do.
Let's do this before we even dive too far into hip hop, because I think we're both saying, DaBaby with 2 albums released in 7 months that were both pretty consistent all the way through.
Pretty
kinda
fire.
won it. Throw your non-hip hop albums at me, because I looked at some of these lists just kind of preparing for this, and I'm like, you know what? I've only heard maybe 1 or 2 songs that were probably the single from that album from all these non-hip hop artists.
Yeah.
I was like, I really need to find some time and maybe put a few podcasts on the back burner, because like you said, I listen to a lot of podcasts now.
Yeah.
And find time to open it up a little bit.
For sure. So I would say that the Ed Sheeran one was definitely one that
I mean, you're saying that might be your favorite album.
I'm telling you, man.
You're
Like,
a big hip hop guy. So
I
that's
am.
a big statement.
it was not a great year for hip hop though.
No, not at all.
I thought Young Thug had a good album this year. We'll get to that in a second. The other album that I thought was really good that's like going to be overlooked for 2019 because it fell right at the very beginning of the year was Ariana Grande's Thank You Next album.
Yes.
That album was fire.
Dude, so that's like I don't want to say guilty pleasure, but it's like, it's one of those where it's like, I'm probably not banging that with my windows down or like leading the conversation with my boys. Like, dude, you heard the new Ari? It's fire, right? But like when my
pretty
fiance's
fucking-
playing it, it's actually pretty good music. Like,
Yeah.
she can sing, whether you like that style of music or not. Like, you cannot deny her ability to really hit notes and make catchy music.
Right. She's
right?
incredibly
like, it's okay
talented.
to like pop catchy
Yeah.
music.
Like Rihanna's like that.
Right.
Like Rihanna and Drake have made some of the most fire
Rihanna's
music in
catalog is
existence.
stupid.
But it's so good, right?
It's so no, I mean, like, it's so there's so many good songs looking back on it, and she's only like 30. It's like
Right.
it feels like she's been around for 20 years.
For sure. Has she put out anything recently?
No, I mean, she's got her whole like makeup and
Yeah.
dude, like she's really being a successful,
Business person.
businesswoman. She's been in a couple of films, and she like engaged to that like a billionaire dude that's involved in oil. Like,
Yeah,
so
very likely.
So maybe like she's working on something that she wants to release, because it's been a little while since she's put out like a really solid album.
Yeah,
I'll
for
throw
sure.
one at you that's hip hop ish, but not
Okay.
really like. It's very mainstream, dude. Lizzo,
Pretty good.
pretty good, right? Like,
Pretty good.
That song is obviously overplayed, but if you actually listen to the rest of the album, she can fucking sing, dude.
Yeah, so I haven't had a lot of experience with her until just recently,
I
actually.
heard of her still like 4 or 5 months ago.
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I've heard of her
And then now I see her twerking in a thong
on
Staples
SNL,
Center.
dude. Yeah, dude.
Which is amazing.
Dude, yeah. So yeah, that did happen. It happened on SNL the other
Yeah,
night too.
well, they were, yeah.
Yeah, and like it was one of those things. Claire and I were watching it. And it was the Eddie Murphy like hosted one for the season finale, and so she was the musical guest.
Which that was really cool seeing him come back.
Definitely, and but she was the first song I didn't love. It's the more current single. I forget what it's called, but the second one was her most popular one, and it was fire, dude.
Yeah.
And like she's incredibly talented.
Yeah, and I mean, I think she had like 5 songs that were on the Billboard.
Really, top 100 or top 40.
Yeah.
Nice.
So I mean, she really, from a number standpoint, whether we think that's important or not, it's still factual. She put up numbers, dude.
Definitely.
She had a come out year, and I think she's gonna get paid, right? Like
Yeah.
this was a contract year for her, and she hit.
Yeah, exactly. Is she gonna be like kind of a fading star though? I wonder.
No, I think she's here to stay. Actually,
Okay.
because I think she's a really big personality that, no pun intended, that embraces the embraces that like. She has a brand going, and I think she's a really good personality. I like her a lot. I think she's hilarious.
See, I look at someone like Cardi B, and I don't look at someone that's here to stay.
I hope not. No, I'm just kidding.
I know, right? I
don't wanna
that's
rag on
not
Cardi
true
too
though. Like
hard.
that's not necessarily true. She's incredibly popular.
She's incredibly popular and incredibly entertaining, but a little over the top for me, and the music
Same.
drives me crazy. Like Lizzo is way more talented of an artist and way more digestible of a personality for me.
That's why I ask. I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
I hope Lizzo's here to stay over Cardi if I had a choice.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Do you have any other non-hip hop ones you want to throw at me before I just?
No, name off a few.
Yeah, I'll go down my list here. So you hit on Wizard. I had that in my top 5. Like I said, not an incredibly strong year. Like that wouldn't have made the list last year's top 5, but so much fun. Young Thug's album. You talked about that for a moment. Young Thug is a guy I feel like it's like the Patriots or the Yankees. Like you love him or hate him.
Right.
Right. And I actually typically like more deep voiced artists. Like the high pitched stuff kind of gets on my nerves sometimes, and the auto tune, which he does a lot of and has a high pitched voice. He's just good, dude. Like
knows
his
what he's doing, dude.
wordplay is crazy. Like
Yeah.
he might be he's either the smartest dumb rapper or the dumbest smart rapper.
I don't know it.
You know, it's one or the other, but like he says some shit sometimes you're like, oh my God, this dude just made me think so hard, and then he says other stuff where you're like, oh my God,
What the fuck, man?
He just needed a line in there that rhymed, right? And it's like, I thought this album stuck out though because J. Cole produced it.
Yep.
So that's a big deal, and he was on a couple of tracks, and I think J. Cole has a lot of talent as a producer, and I think he's made his best rap music. As much as I love him, I think he's made his best music. So I'd like to see his future as a producer because this was a solid project.
Dude, it's so hard to compete with like the warm up and Cole world. Like
set
for
the
him,
bar high.
dude, he set the bar.
Yeah, I could even
so
argue
high,
2014 Forest Hills was his best album. It's a tough argument.
We've had that argument
but
before.
it was definitely an improvement from Born Center.
Yeah, I liked Born Center a lot more than people did.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. It was a lot more. It was darker than Cold World, but
Yeah.
too dark probably. But like, I liked it. I don't know. I get why people don't though.
But from 2014 Forest Hills Drive, it's been downhill from there. So
For me, yes.
and for me as well. We're in a different place on Cole. I like him. I put him a lot higher.
I think it's just a matter of we don't like that album, or like we disagree on whether that album's good.
Yeah. You don't think that album's that fire?
I don't like it.
We got to do an episode on that because that's like that'll blow my mind.
Yeah.
Um,
But past that, I think we agree. Like he is going downhill, but like before that, he was
Right. And this is like a LeBron thing where like his off night or his off album is still going to be an above average hip hop album.
Right.
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 But he's like so lyrical. Like you can't really like work out to him or be riding in your car and really get amped and hyped to J. Cole. Like I'm sitting in my house. I'm trying to
Chilling a little bit.
chill a little bit. Right. So you got to be delicate there. But I thought he did a really good job producing this album. And I thought it kind of brought out a little bit more of Young Thug's talent. Because I think there's some untapped potential there still.
For sure. I really liked Beautiful Thugger Girls, I think a lot more than most people did.
Okay.
And man, that song with him and Snoop just kills me every time. Like Snoop walks in and drops that verse that just murders the whole track. But like the lead up to it's perfect. And I thought that album was really, really good. So it's one of those things. I don't know I don't know how I feel about him headed from here. So Much Fun was a good album. It wasn't my favorite album by him though.
No, not at all. But he's done a lot of music in a short period of time.
He has.
And you've been on him
A long
from the
time.
Beginning. I mean,
Yeah.
I remember when like Stoner came out and then Best Friend and like I remember all that, but I wasn't really
On him yet.
on him like that. Like Barter 6, I was like, okay, this guy,
Yeah.
he's here to stay, but people are gonna go one way or another on him.
For
At
sure.
first, I thought, do you ever remember a rapper named Lil B?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like
I remember the name anyway.
It was kind of like a satire, like almost sarcastic, because he was so over the top. And I thought Young Thug was almost like that.
Okay.
And I thought this album, So Much Fun, was one of his more like serious is a hard word to use with Thugger, but it was a more you could
Mainstream.
tell J. Cole was influential on it.
It brought some professionalism to it a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair.
Another one I want to throw at you. I think it got really hyped up. A lot of people don't feel like it lived up to the hype. I do feel like it lived up to the hype. Was Rapper Go to the League? 2 Chainz.
Yeah,
LeBron
I actually had that on my list too.
That came out really early in the year. LeBron A&R'd on it, which was like a big deal, which is basically LeBron was in the studio bobbing his
hanging
head.
out.
Like, yeah, I like this one. This one's good. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, what did he really do on that?
Nothing.
But,
yeah.
I'm a LeBron guy, so that made me slightly more
Sure.
biased to it. I've always liked 2 Chainz though, because like he played college basketball. Like, dude's a legit athlete, and he has a lot of sports references, which is always just like kind of near and dear to my heart, man. When people do good hip hop music with sports references, I've always loved that. This album, Rapper Go to the League, was obviously directly geared towards that. And I really thought it was a good change of pace for 2 Chainz. It wasn't you don't have a lot of singles on here. You don't have a lot of those radio 2 Chainz hits. And I think 2 Chainz been extremely successful, and he's like 45. Like, he didn't get successful, he was like 35. But I do think he's maybe hurt his career a little bit in my eyes. Not for the money. The money's right, because he's made these commercial, radio rap songs. It overshadows how intellectual and how good of a
talented
lyrical lyricist he is.
I agree with that. Dude, 2 Chainz is one of those guys. I never know where I fall with 2 Chainz, and it just depends on the album. And like, I love Pretty Girls Love Trap Music. I love that album.
Probably his strongest.
And almost certainly. It was a great album. But like, I feel like it's almost every other album with him I liked. And this Rapper Go to the League was fine. It didn't
do much for you though.
It just didn't move the needle. Like, it was a fine album. I listened to it. I liked it. I didn't listen to it again.
Right. And that's one of those for me, I think, just because of the theme of the album and like the things they're talking about is something I'm so interested in.
I should go back and listen to this, is what you're telling me.
A little more. Yeah, you need to go back and listen to it.
Yeah. You showed a little more interest because of your...
And it's one of those, you're going to catch some stuff as you go through it multiple times.
Okay.
But I'll let my bias take over there, and that maybe swayed me a little bit more.
Got it. Okay.
So
what else you got?
Yeah, so this is another one that kind of falls towards it's an ATL rapper, towards the future, not a little mumble rap, but like drug rap is Gunna. Drip or Drown 2. I like Gunna a lot.
Same.
Out of all the younger guys, I like him a lot. I don't know if he has the ceiling that maybe like a 21 Savage does, but his consistency is so much better.
Yeah.
Like, I take Gunna over Lil Baby, which not a lot of people do. I think that
case is getting harder.
Is getting saturated though.
It is.
Right. Like, a lot of these guys sound the exact same, and I think Gunna differentiates himself with actually really good lyrics.
Yeah, I think so too. I like Gunna a lot. My thing is that he just hasn't had that thing that's really set him apart from like Thugger yet for me.
Yeah, or
but like he's had some fire features. Like, he was on that Playboy Cardi album. Might be one of my favorite albums.
Love that
I
album,
love that album,
you
dude.
Love it. I think it's solid, but you love that album.
I love it because of all the different talent that's on it and how well it's showcased. And like, he was able. I get this with 2 Chainz a lot too. I like 2 Chainz guest appearances on songs better than I like 2 Chainz songs. I feel the same way about Wale. We've talked about that before. Yep. You're a bigger Wale guy than me.
Way off on Wale,
bro. I listened to that Wale album about half at one time and said, "Oh no, oh no." And I get it. It's just
that's how I feel about Logic, and I know people love Logic.
Yeah, I'm not there, guy. Not there either. But with him, I feel like you get into this thing where you've got to have the right music, and sometimes these guys are a better lyricist than they are producer. And if you're willing to either stay with that and try to grind that out, and maybe you'll become something like, I look at Future as one of those guys. Okay. He was kind of one of those guys that wasn't taken too seriously because mumble rap was so hard to understand. But then once everybody kind of just got over that and was like, this guy's fire. And he also figured out the right mix of that too, right?
Correct.
And so that's a combination of both. But like, if you don't make the best beats so like if you get on someone else's song and that thing just goes fire and you love those verses, so like I feel this way about Gunna a lot of times. You're on somebody else's song and that goes platinum, but you're not able to like do that yourself and showcase your own talent.
Kobe Bryant analogy here?
Almost a little bit, yeah. No, but if you're not able to showcase your own talent the right way, then that's
Wale
okay.
has certainly done that.
Wale has killed it.
His features are stupid.
So good. So good. He's been on a couple of Wiz Khalifa songs and stuff like that are just fire. Yep. And like, he's one of those people, and like if you don't know how to sell yourself, and it works out for Wale because
like it's not good when you YouTube a rapper and the first 5 songs are his features.
Correct.
And they're not on his album.
Right, and that's where I'm at with Gunna. Is I don't know that he's done that thing yet, whereas 21 Savage has.
100%, and that's why I think 21 Savage has the higher ceiling, almost certainly. I just thought Drip or Drown 2 was a really solid album.
It was a good album. No, it was a good album.
But it was an album, yeah.
Yeah, it was a good album. And I'll say that, in all fairness, 21 Savage did set himself back by being exposed as an absolute fraud. It's been tough to get over.
It is, dude, but if we knew the truth about most of these rappers...
I know.
Right, these dudes are actors, right? For the most part.
They are.
Right? Like, these aren't guys from the 90s. It's not... There's only so many of the games, right?
Right.
Like, these guys are being groomed by these huge record companies to play a persona. And
that's fair.
And they have to find their calling. And I'm not calling all rappers fake by any means, but like,
yeah,
come on,
dude.
right?
But no, I'm with you. I'm with you.
It's hard to overcome when so many facts get exposed, even though we may assume that about other people. When
Correct.
you read it, you're just like, God dang,
dude. You've seen that video?
It's
like,
bad,
it's real bad.
And I mean,
it's the war. Like he couldn't. Like I choose to think that they're at least a little bit that way, and I know that's unrealistic. And to your exact point,
sure,
like that's not realistic.
But I mean, like you look at something as Lil Soon and sad, but like Juice WRLD, like that guy was really kind of probably living the life he was talking about. Unfortunately,
yeah, exactly. Right? That's a big problem right now in rap music for sure.
It is absolutely. So we just talked about 21 Savage and Gunna. I'm going to throw them into this conversation. If I say, let's look at these kind of like under 25 rappers or under 30 rappers who we think is going to have the biggest run here in the next 5 years. So let's go 21 Savage. I'm going to put Gunna in there, but I just don't think he has the it factor.
I'm not yet anyway.
So
I haven't seen it yet.
Let's take him out. Let's go 21 Savage.
Thugger.
Lil Uzi Vert. Lil Baby. Kodak. I'm going to leave Post Malone out because Post Malone's a pop artist.
Dude, Post Malone's unbelievable.
That boy's selling. That guy's going to outsell the shit out of all those guys.
Dude, I respect the shit out of him.
I don't even love his music.
Me neither.
I respect it. He has some decent songs.
He does. Yeah.
I don't love his music, but he's an artist, not a rapper.
Dude, he's the embodiment of you can make it if you try.
Yeah. But he owns who he is. And I love that about him.
I love that about him too. Like he's
sponsored by Bud Light. That's fucking hilarious, dude. All these guys are sipping, Cristal and Hennessy, and he's
like, I'll take a Bud
Light.
Yeah, the truest form of Dallas guy.
I went, I sold 10 million albums this year. I'll drink a platinum now.
Yeah.
I'll get fancy on them, and like I love that.
Yes,
I'm a local guy too, so you kind of got to support that.
Right, but I love the owning who you are thing about it.
So I just
of that list, I would say I don't know if DaBaby's going to catch on mainstream. Maybe I don't know.
No, let's throw him in there.
No. I'm saying I think
so I'll run it.
He could have the biggest.
One more time.
Okay, go ahead.
I'm gonna take. Is it fair to take Lil Uzi Vert out?
Probably so. Okay. I don't think as many people know about him.
21 Savage.
Yep.
DaBaby. Lil Baby. Kodak. And Thugger. I think Thugger's going to take the biggest leap. He seems like he's headed that direction. I think Kodak's going to end up in jail, unfortunately. I really believe that.
I agree with you.
Lil Baby has had a hell of a run.
He has.
He's had some good music or good mixtapes. He's had some really good features. All of his flows sound too much the same, and I don't see enough versatility there.
Yeah, he's going to have to do something big next.
I didn't realize this, though. He's only 22.
Holy shit.
That's pretty fucking young.
Yeah.
Gunna,
and throw it young.
And Gunna are both 22. That's young.
Yeah, no, I knew Gunna was young.
Because, like, Thugga and DaBaby are almost 30.
Right. Okay, so that makes a big difference.
Makes a big difference.
And throw young NBA in there, too, as well, probably.
I'm him.
But is he going to take the biggest leap? Because I don't know. He puts out a lot of music.
From a pop culture standpoint, like, he's not going to get popular enough. I've, like, never heard any of his songs on the radio other than No Smoke or Go Outside Today. That's all you hear on the radio. Like, he's too Louisiana, man.
Yeah.
I love Louisiana rappers, though. I love Wayne.
Wayne made it work.
Juvenile going way back. But I love Boozy, Webby, Kevin Gates. Like, Youngboy NBA, I love the Louisiana sound, but it's a very distinct gutter sound.
Yeah, it is. It's just like Houston rap.
Yeah.
It's very specific.
Houston rap never got that popular. It had that, brief kind of blip in, like, 2006-07 with like Paul Wall, Camille.
Dude, yeah, I was just gonna say you could have fooled me that Paul Wall wasn't gonna throw it over the edge.
Yeah, dude, he was right there, man.
There was a time though.
That boy's like 350 pounds now. So out of that list, you like Thugger though?
Yeah, I think so. I think they're gonna commercially tune him in or mold him into whatever they want him to be.
Okay.
And he seems the most moldable, and the fact that he's already working with J. Cole.
I think I have to agree with that.
Yeah.
It would have been 21 Savage, barring all that other stuff happening. He was on.
It just set him back. That album of his, that newest, was pretty good.
Dude,
I think that was last year,
so
but
good, man. I like I said, I think Kodak's gonna go to jail. I think Lil Baby sounds the same too frequently, and I think Da Baby, unless he pulls a 2 Chainz Future where he gets famous late.
I don't know if I see it. Yeah, it's a little niche.
For 10 years.
Yeah, it's a little niche for sure.
Right.
I like it, but it's a little niche. All right, what else you got?
So, and I was going to say real quick, a lot of people are going to listen to this and say, what about, your Denzel Currys or Vince Staples, and those are a little more underground kind of lyrical guys that, Earl Sweatshirt. I get that. That's not my scene.
No, mine either.
I
don't even really care for Childish Gambino that much.
No, it's not my style.
Yeah,
it's
not my game either.
Real classic hip hop.
Yeah.
Another one that I liked a lot. We've talked about this. So Father of Four by Offset. I think Offset is the best member of Migos.
I don't hate that take
as an individual artist. Now, obviously, he's Takeoff is just I'm not too worried about Takeoff.
Right.
Offset is not going to sell records. To the degree that Migos is going to, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that from a freestyle, just an overall flow standpoint, he's the most talented member. I think his raps are the best. Quavo makes the best music, right? He's made a lot of pop songs, and he's
I liked that Quavo album a lot more than I think a lot of people did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I think from a pop standpoint, people like him a lot. He makes catchy music. He's a great person to put on a song. Mm-hmm. But if we're just talking rap, Offset can rap better than Quavo.
Oh, definitely.
For sure.
Quavo doesn't really portray himself out to be like that, though. He raps, but not like...
He knows his role.
Yeah.
And he's selling.
But he produces the right way.
And not to get too much off on a tangent, he was on College Game Day this year.
Yeah.
Because he was a high school quarterback in Atlanta, so when it was a Georgia game he was there for. He's got a good head on his shoulders. That dude fucking gets it, man.
Yeah, he gets it for sure.
He gets it. So I think he's here to stay.
Yeah, I think so too.
And he had a quiet 2019.
Yeah.
So big things to come in 2020, almost certainly, right?
Right.
It kind of, like you said, goes in that every other year kind of pattern, except for the baby with 2 this year. That's why we kind of got to give him the tip. Last one I do want to talk about that I had written down. I have some disappointments that I want to get to.
Yeah,
that I think a lot of people really enjoyed, but Crit is Here by Big Crit. You're not a Crit guy.
No, that album stunk.
I love Mississippi, Louisiana rap. I just think Big Crit is one of the more underrated artists of the last 10 years. And
really?
I know you're not,
I'm not there, but I get it.
Dude, he has no popularity.
Yeah? He has none. He doesn't. I don't know anybody that knows Big Crit. It's
hard to make it out of Mississippi, man.
It is. It's that... What is it? Is it the Southern style rap, I guess?
Yeah, and I mean, when you...
It doesn't come out as hard, I guess.
Well, I just think that there's just not as many people you can connect with. There's less people in the state of Mississippi than there is in the city of New York, right? So there's just less people that can relate to what you're saying. Right?
Yeah, that's got to be it.
When you're talking about coming out of Mississippi, there's only so many people that can relate to that, right?
Right. Yeah, no, that's a good point.
All I'll leave it at is half that state doesn't want to hear about that.
That's a good point.
So yeah, that's another issue.
Okay. All right. So what else? What other disappointments have you? What disappointments have you got?
I'll say disappointments or popular ones that I did not like, because I thought the Tyler Creator album was trash, and I don't like Tyler the Creator.
I don't either.
So it's not a disappointment to me because I didn't have high expectations, but people love that album.
I just did not. I wasn't there. I'm not there on him at all.
I'm not. It has nothing to do with him as a person and sexuality or anything like that.
No.
That I've never liked any of his raps.
Honestly,
I don't like that style.
Yeah, no, me neither.
It's just too...
It's too abstract for me.
It's too abstract, and he tries to be dark, and it's this isn't what I'm looking for in a hip-hop album at all.
Right.
I'm going to come out and say I thought the biggest disappointment, or the one that got the most hype, that did not deserve it, and that I had expectations for, was Kanye's album. Was it Jesus is King?
Really? You had high expectations for that?
That's a hard way.
You know what I mean? Because
yeah, I know.
I
Kanye's projects have been terrible recently, so high expectations is probably the wrong phrase. I'm always super intrigued by Kanye.
Well, yeah, I think everybody is.
And I was just like, holy shit, this is 10 times worse than I ever thought it was going to be.
It's so bad.
It's so bad. And like, dude, he's really going all out on this. And now I don't know if he's going to have, one of his episodes where he snaps out of what's going on, but he's, declared himself as he's a religious entity now. So he's like tax free, which is fucking genius and ridiculous that our country will allow that to happen in the first place. But
no, it's not.
I mean,
he's smart enough to take advantage of it.
Yeah, I mean, he's just playing the system, right?
Dude, I hope that he comes out with just the most thug album in the world after this next
would
one.
be
That'd be
amazing.
Fire.
Because he was like, he's visiting Joel Osteen. What if this is just all
a ruse
to get everybody on his side, and he just comes out there and he just does the most thugged out album? That would make me love Kanye again.
Same.
I'm losing my love for Kanye.
But also, would that be the most Kardashian thing you've ever seen?
Oh, 100%.
Dude, he's so Kardashian. It stinks.
Can he get out of it?
No.
The only way you get out of it is you get care-flighted on a stretcher out of a Vegas brothel.
Right, dude.
That's the only way Lamar Odom could escape that.
And even then, we don't know.
Yeah.
But he, dude, the thing about him is he's the poor one of the group.
That's absurd.
That's absurd. And so, like, I don't think you walk away from that situation if you're Kanye, dude.
No.
Yeah.
Is Travis Scott a genius for having a child with Kylie?
Yes.
She's a billionaire, dude.
Yeah, he's a genius.
And everyone always talks about how no one in that group has talent.
Wrong.
$1 billion, you have talent.
Yeah, wrong. Yeah, they know how to market.
She just used her name. Well, that was smart for her to do.
Yeah.
that.
Okay. Great. Guess what? That name was established for her, and take advantage of if you got it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So a couple other ones. Every list, preparing for this, looking at best hip hop albums of 2019 or just best albums of 2019. Psychodrama by Dave was all over that.
Yeah.
Not my vibe, dude.
No, not really mine either.
And not really even like hip hop totally in my mind. That's not even one that I was anticipating or anything like that. I just kept seeing on this list, so I'm like, all right, let me go to Spotify and play some songs. I'm out on it.
It's not great.
Nope. A couple others. Schoolboy Q is one of my favorite artists of the last 10 or 15 years.
Really?
A lot of inconsistencies, but I love his delivery.
Yeah.
Future's delivery is part of the reason I love him.
Right.
Schoolboy Q's album was terrible, dude.
It was bad.
And
that's why I don't like him. Just exactly what you said. So inconsistent. Has fire tracks sometimes.
And the talent.
Yes.
He's the Cowboys.
He's incredible. Oh, God. He's incredible, but he just never does it consistently. This album was a great example of that. It was terrible. Yeah. I listened to it exactly once.
Last two disappointments I want to share with you. Two guys I think you distinctly, hate might be a strong word, do not like these rappers. Port of Miami 2, Rick Ross.
Mm-hmm.
No, you're not a Rick Ross guy.
Just not a big Rick Ross guy.
I'm a Rick Ross guy.
I like his beats. I don't like him.
Okay. Son of Assad, DJ Khaled. Cannot stand DJ Khaled.
Yeah, he's a two in my face.
Both of those albums were pretty trash for what you expect from a big name artist like that.
What was the lead single off the DJ Khaled album?
Dude, I gotta pull it up and see what was the number one selling album there, or number one selling track on that.
It's very obvious. I'm just not thinking of which one it is.
But my problem with DJ Khaled is it's not the yelling and that he doesn't rap or anything like that. Because
he's a DJ. He never said he's a rapper.
Right. That makes him smart. That makes him a freaking genius.
Because he could fall on his ass and not have to be accountable for it. No Brainer was the song with Bieber and Chance the Rapper.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Yeah.
My issue with him is he annoys the shit out of me.
Yeah.
Like his social media, I know people think he's funny. I think he is just annoying as hell, man.
Yeah,
it's
I'm also
not like he's too over the top or anything. It's just like, why are we idolizing this guy? This guy's a fucking idiot.
Well, dude, like you know me, like I'm a staunch Lamar supporter, for God's sakes.
Right.
Like I thought, or LeVar, excuse me, not Lamar, LeVar, and like because I think it's funny, and like I knew it was going to be a thorn in the Lakers' side, so that probably helped, right? But ultimately, like I think it's hilarious. His shtick, I'm not down with though. It just feels like a shtick.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
I don't know. It's too in my face. It's too much. And I thought that album, I mean, kind of to your point, the brilliance of his albums are the fact that he just gets everybody else to be on his albums, which is great. Smart.
He is a smart businessman.
Yeah.
I don't think he's necessarily a smart person. Unless what he's doing is just all shtick. Which is very possible. But like his Snapchat, I just
feels pretty real, dude.
And I'm just like, I think this is just how this guy is.
Yeah, I think so too. I don't know that I don't know, dude. It's always hard to tell.
It's hard to tell, but ultimately, I think we can anticipate a stronger 2020 than 2019,
definitely,
right? And
Definitely.
Bar's pretty low. I would love to see what kind of odds I could get on that.
I was looking. I know. I would agree. I don't know how you measure that.
Yeah, I don't know.
But I guess in record sales. But like I was looking at something earlier. And I was trying to pull it up just a little bit ago, but it wouldn't load for me. But I know that Drake and Future are doing What a Time to Be Alive 2.
Okay.
And there's going to be a lot of like Cardi's going to put out a new album. Like there's going to be a lot of different stuff this year that's going to come into play that. Of guys that just didn't put stuff out this year. So this past year. So I'm excited for it. I think it's gonna be a good year.
Do you think in this coming decade we're gonna hit a wall with the mumble rap and the just drug induced rap? Like it's gonna come to a stop, right? And switch to a different direction.
Real quickly too. It's exactly what happened with Wayne.
Yeah, and like these things go in waves, man. I mean, there was, the early to mid '90s storytelling type of, street reporting. Basically, this is what I'm seeing in my environment. Very poetic almost, but still kind of gangster rap.
Yeah.
Then it moved into like late '90s, early 2000s, which
like
was
Eminem,
Jay-Z, 50, where it's like everybody,
still real, just different side of things.
Right. It was like really pop rap.
Yeah.
And it was, big jerseys, oversized jeans.
Hell yeah, dude.
Just, everyone's driving Avalanches and Dodge Magnums.
And the H2s.
Right,
whatnot,
H2s.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it's pretty funny looking at those outfits. And then you kind of transition to, your Kanye, Wayne, more creative, less gangster rap, but still has, ties where they'd have great features. And then, you had your Kendrick Lamar, J. Cole era, and now we're in this really era that's dominated by guys that aren't really saying shit.
Yeah, it's just
We're
volume.
just like looking for something, right?
Yeah,
like
there isn't. We were talking about this on the show earlier about movies. Like there isn't like a dominant person going forward.
It's crazy because if you said 5 years ago, right? So 2014, peak of powers basically for Kendrick, Drake, and J. Cole.
Yeah.
Right? Like you had three, like this is a three.
Less so J. Cole of those three, but I'm with you.
From a record sales standpoint, yes. From a hip hop heads standpoint,
Influence.
those were the three guys, right?
Yes.
We don't have a clear cut winner on that right now, which is really interesting. I mean, is Drake still kind of the guy? I think he is.
He is.
Like he's LeBron, right? Like
right.
Until you take the crown from him, he's still kind of the king of the league.
Future seems to be lurking in the shadows.
Is he Kawhi? Is Future Kawhi? I mean,
could be.
That's kind of what we're looking at.
That's a good point. I like that. I think that. I mean, he could definitely be lurking in the shadows. So I could see that. So, all right. Well, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap things up. Good year in review. I think we're going to look at a better 2020 for music overall, but man, there was some strong stuff this year just talking through it all.
Absolutely.
You got to check out that Ed Sheeran album when you get a chance.
Okay.
You're going to like it.
I'll do that.
You'll like it.
You go back and listen to Rapper Go to the League.
Yeah, I'll do that for sure. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and wrap things up, and we will see everybody later.
Later, man.